gross misuse of public service. Later, DJ Mike Joe. Just fun. And gorgeous. It's fun. Just guy jogging, dog patrolling and take off ready for the work. It's well, man, give or take that time of day or year, but I'm really ready to tell the truth. So basically, us as humans, we feel actually appreciated. It's emotion. Like the law of magnetics, you can, like good energy brings good energy, bad energy brings bad, good pushes away from bad. So basically what happens is that, we start to, we naturally, we get upset at things, so, good karma brings good karma, bad karma brings bad, good pushes away bad. It's for everything. Basically, the band that help us out, vagabonds, urban concrete junglers, So, long story short, if we have good energy, there's cotton in my mouth, but if you have good energy, it radiates, but it's like magnets. So just like when we have hypertension, basically what happens is that our blood, the platelets, like the fatty foods we eat or stress or something, got the dandruff going. And forget about it. Look at that. All going down. From the fatty foods, we have from hypertension, we get our blood will, I'm trying to think of the word, but it like magnetizes the fatty foods. Like if we eat unhealthy and we don't get exercise, we got basically. Blood will oxidize. So from the oxidization, it's the same concept. Okay, so basically, when we have good energy, like now, I speak out to the public because this energy that I speak of, kinetic, or they'll call it hemisync and synchronography. But to an extent, what I studied was hemisync and synchronicity, and basically this good energy, our receptors, kind of like inhibitors, are like antennas. So it's the same concept, like how we need to take care of our bodies and how we can rebuild things like teeth and things like that. And I reversed everything, but I had good doctors too, a whole bunch of them. And big shout out to Dr. Shajan, Don, it's fun to say, and Romani, Basil Jackson, all the Renew family, Lynn, I think her husband, Roberto, if I'm getting it right, and the other Lynn and Bob, and Ro, I believe, and then the other Bob, I believe. I will talk to Bob Lee, I believe, and for a long time. So these receptors, basically what happens is with their antennas, okay? So, or the inhibitors. So, just like serotonin inhibitor or something like blocker and stuff like that. So basically, this good energy, like Sarmans, that's why, we release 3 God genes, and that would be the Holy Ghost that we feel and what we would know. And long story short, what happens is that we connect this with our brains. So when they say surround yourself by smarter people, I've always told this by smarter people, and it pays off because for me, what happened ultimately now is that individuals now can actually, so what happens is that we take this good energy, and from that good energy, we can actually pick it up. So just like those fatty foods, those start to get blocked. If we start to get blockage, it's because of our stress, and it mimics all diseases. So then one's going to go to femoral artery, I think, and there's another one. So one will be a heart attack, and then the other one, that's where we get stroke. And and I think hematoma would be like the abrasions, I believe, don't quote me on it, that we would get like the clots or something. So almost too. So from there, what happens is that we actually, so it's the same concept of taking care of our bodies, because and our health is just as important, our mind, body, and soul. And then we say the diet to the skin is all Hindu. But what happens is that basically it means the view of our separateness. So we understand even just being separate, that it's basically being liberated. So then, like the Buddha translates it to the awakened one. That's the closest thing, and I think that's Sumerian, if I'm not mistaken. But it's old Hindu, but I believe as well. And then Kundalini is a certain meditation, and you can do Kundalini yoga, not to be confused with Kama Sutra or anything. But what happens is that so what happens is that what happens is that we end up being in a state of meditation, because I'm a Taoist and I'm a Taoist. So for me, the closest thing I would say, and not just being self-diagnosed, but I've rode and commented with Sabu, and I've studied him a lot, and I've also studied Alan Watts, like I'm a scholar a lot, and his predecessors to an extent. I've studied Jung, Sigmund Freud, Picasso, and then a lot of other things that, and a lot of scientists, like Einstein, Tesla, and I believe I finished his equation, that his greatest blunder, that he called, and there was it was love. He said when he met his daughter, and had his daughter rather, that he experienced love. So his dad bought him a compass, I believe it was 1921. And basically from that compass, he ended up seeing that it floated. So when he seen that it floated, he knew that there was a different element in our world and science that he didn't understand, but he was intrigued by it. So that's our modern day, what we would call quantum mechanics. And, he did a lot of other work that I wasn't able to study far enough, but I understand something that I discovered in study was quantum mechanics, quantum physics, quantum entanglement, quantum leaping. And I believe, and it's factual, that it completes a lot of our work for biblical and law and also love to come in. So there's 11.5 chakras or dimensions. So a lot of people, they would laugh and be like, there's dimensions, ha ha ha, and I'm like, well, we're in the third dimension. So technically the shadow dimension is going to be the second dimension behind us. I believe it's something I wrote called the ripple effect, and the prism theory explains more of the Big Bang and the ripple in certain, I believe we're 5 milliseconds behind time, or maybe 5 seconds when it comes from Android versus Apple. And in our world, because technically there should be 366 days, and then 33 days in a month, 8 days in a week. So when we start to look at it in a certain sense, where it's 18 and then 6 hours, that's where we could go to 33 days and 8 days in a week. So it only makes more sense. And then even within measurements, I found out that how we measure speed is how we measure with rulers, okay? So, and tape measures and things. So we have it backwards. So once I discovered that too, that's where it's understanding with frequencies and other things that make us more than capable to do certain things that we never thought we could. So like how those magnets work is that I figured out that they were doing almost like a mind control, but it wasn't like you think. I worked out certain technologies that would be a half of analog and half digital. That's how our cell phones run CCD or CDD MMA or something like that. DA, and then in certain channels, but like if we, hey, all right, I'm graduation. So with certain channels, big shout out to our graduates. I think they're from South Milwaukee, I think, over there, or somewhere else too. I've seen the letters or people driving. Right. But basically, because just like with Stonehenge, if you take the dimensions of it and then you times it, I think by 33 or 11, by 11, the lanes, and like the circumference, I would think that's what we would call it. I'm just going on a limb here, but if you times that by 11, that's the light of speed of light. So the speed of light will make us able to break through our atmosphere to go to space. So I figured out that to measure, there's no way to measure time. Time technically doesn't exist. So, but basically it's the barometric pressures in the universe, atmosphere, and basically from there, what happens is that, shout out to our truckers. No, I'm in the middle of this, please, relax, So it's a four-way when there's no lights, Whether they blink or not, we just gotta. But anywho, when we start to understand that, like Jesus is lost years. So what happens is that when we have these chakras and dimensions, I figured out certain things with our time, with having a connection with it, where we can measure, not necessarily time, but coming pretty close to anything, because technically it would be a crystal that expands, kind of like, that's how we kind of tell time, where it expands in the atmosphere, the barometric pressure, and then that crystal helps measure. the time. So basically, and that's like in Taoism. In Taoism, technically we don't exist, and I gotta get this ready for the night.
Thank you. Good luck.
Okay. Doing alright?
Oh yeah, I'm alright.
You out here all the time.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
You got this.
Thank you, I appreciate that. You have a wonderful, blessed night.